Mr. Director, Miss Directress, Honorable Judges, ladies and gentlemen, I have chosen my topic for the reasons why citizens with felonies should have their right to vote. Today I would like to take a few moments to discuss with you a topic that has been plaguing our country for far too long. This ongoing epidemic has been largely brushed under the rug, and this has stunted our country in its longing for our constitutional rights. One of these rights is the right to vote. But when this right is taken away, it prevents many individuals from participating in the decisions of our government. So, at this time, I am going to show you the reasons why citizens with felonies should have the right to vote. Citizens with felonies shouldn't be denied their vote because it contradicts our democracy, creates racial injustice, and defies our country's belief in second chances. To provide more of an understanding on the topic, I need to take you back to the roots of America's voting restrictions. We should begin to rewind the clock in American history until we've reached the 1830s. During this time period, segregation was still a crippling disease in our culture's history. One man living at the time was a struggling actor by the name of Thomas Dartmouth Rice. One day Thomas had been walking in New York's Park Theater when he had come upon an African-American slave singing a song about a fellow named Jim Crow. Rice took on the name as an exaggerated, highly stereotypical black character named Jim Crow. Jim Crow became so popular that it was used as a collective racial label for blacks. This label was soon used as a way to describe segregation rules, laws, and customs arising after the Reconstruction era of 1877. These laws were enacted to restrain blacks by denying voting rights, holding taxes, and denying the right to serve on a jury. These Jim Crow laws became an outline for years to come. This racial label had a terrible effect on the years since 1877. Soon after the popularity of Jim Crow, segregation rules and laws shifted to a racial caste system named the Jim Crow era. These laws were enacted to restrain African Americans as second-class citizens. Unfortunately, this mindset did not stop with one race. These beliefs had devastating effects on American culture that are still prevalent today. Presently, this way of life still plays out in America today by the use of voting restrictions against citizens with felonies. Although the terms of these restrictions are different, they still impound our own citizens today by disqualifying jury service, imposing collateral consequences, and creating a barrier for future employment. To date, there is an estimated 5.85 million people denied the right to vote. Out of that 5.85, 4.4 million are living civilian life as we speak. In all of our 52 states, most of them restrict voting altogether or during imprisonment, parole, or probation, despite each state having its own voting laws. Without the people voting in the states, we take away the very democracy that our society favors so much. New Jersey has had some deliberation on whether or not to allow former felons to vote, but has settled upon restoring voting automatically upon completion of a person's sentence, parole, or probation. It is a compromise between the two extremes of Delaware's possible permanent loss of voting and Maine's unrestricted voting, but the problem with this compromise is that the terms of an individual's sentence could be for years or life. These restraints still deny millions of citizens their vote. Now, some have tried to change these laws in our state, but nothing has been successful in changing any significant regulation. Without these revisions, we not only hurt the citizens of our country as a whole, but the minorities that make our great nation racially diverse. I need to mention the number of minorities that are most affected by these laws today. This cannot be overlooked due to statistics of the arrest, imprisonment, and disenfranchisement of minorities. Statistics have shown that out of the millions denied voting, 13% are black. Hispanics follow closely as second. The Sentencing Project organization has concluded that 1 in 17 Caucasian males are arrested, while 2 to 1 in 3 African American males for nonviolent drug offenses. Also, Hispanics are 6% more likely to report traffic stops than whites. Now, some may think, well, this is just a coincidence, or so what? But I would propose to you that these statistics have uncanny differences in numbers that cannot be ignored. Voting restrictions not only brand convicted citizens as second class, but also create racial injustice amongst felons. The opposing side of the argument says that if we let felons vote, they will vote against the very laws that put them in jail. Our Supreme Court has also spoken on the topic, saying the fundamental reason we do not let felons vote is that we have a certain minimum objectives of responsibility, trustworthiness, and loyalty to our laws that must be met before someone can participate in the sacred enterprise of self-government. Our courts have also stated that the right to vote is preservative of all rights. If this is the case, then the opposing side contradicts their desire for citizens to have their most important rights by setting up laws that would go against such a right. Some citizens have tried to make changes, but nothing has prevailed yet. I have showed you all of the facts from our voting restrictions and how it contradicts our democracy, creates racial injustice, and defies our country's belief in second chances. Furthermore, if we embrace these laws, we go against the very foundation that America was built on. The felons or ex-felons of this country deserve to vote, and the era of Jim Crow and its effects should not still press down on our convicted individuals any longer. By continuing to deny voting rights, we are being counterproductive to citizens re-entering society once again. America is known as the land of the free. But how can this land be free if we withhold citizens a second chance? When one is told they cannot vote, the messages sent are that you are not intelligent enough to form a valid opinion. Your voice doesn't matter, and you are subservient to the rest of society. These echo our segregated past, and preventing a citizen from voting is un-American. Without all of his rights, what incentive does a felon have to better themselves if there are laws set in order to keep them restrained to lesser citizenship? Joe Loya, a disenfranchised former prisoner, said, "Without a voice, a vote, I am a ghost inhabiting a citizen's space." He couldn't have put it any better. We say we've grown as a country, but if we want our country to be ruled by the people, it needs to be ruled by all people, young and old, black and white, former felons and non-felons. These are our inalienable rights. These are our constitutional